everybody, my name is Indra and today I want to show you how to make face masks. Before we begin, I do want to say that I highly encourage you to double check and research on what best materials to use for a project like this. I am using materials that I have at home, and I figure this is something that maybe will be something entertaining and also functional, and something that you can do even if you don't have a lot of knowledge on sewing or crafting. So I hope that you like this project, and I will leave all of the information below on the pattern and everything that I used. So let's get to it. Here are the materials that I'm going to be using for this. So first of all, I got this face mask pattern. I did so much research trying to figure out which mask pattern to use, and I felt that this one it looked pretty easy. So I figured this might be a good one, especially if you are a beginner at sewing. And I'll post a link and all the information about this particular pattern there. But it is by Hello Sewing, and it does already come in 3 different sizes. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I will be using the medium size. For the outer fabric, I'm going to be using the Scuba Dot. This is from the Yayahan collection, and this is something that you can actually order online, so you don't have to go in store if you don't need to. And for the inner fabric, I'm using this old like t-shirt. I definitely recommend doing some research as far as what fabrics and materials are the best, but these are the ones that I will be using for this tutorial. And of course, I'm going to be using scissors, some straight pins, and my sewing machine. And for the elastic, I'm going to be using this super thin. This is like an 1/8. I'll show you. It's like an 1/8 of an inch. Very thin elastic. Okay, so now I have my pieces cut. I have the 2 inner ones and the 2 outer ones. So I'm going to sew these around the curve first, and I'm sewing them both like right sides facing each other, sewing it. And I will do that. I'll sew that off camera and come show you. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and sewn just with a straight stitch right at that front part. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is open these 2 up, and I'm going to put these together. These would be the right sides, so I'm putting those together, and I'm going to see if they fit, and then you just pin these so that both line up perfectly. So what I'll do is I'm gonna sew around. I'll probably start like at the bottom and just sew all the way around, and I'm gonna leave maybe a space, maybe like that big, that is not sewn, so that then I can turn it over and sew that seam closed. I will recommend though that since we're doing a lot of curves and stuff here, make sure that you create notches if you need to, and when you sew, to cut those little corners. That way you have really crisp corners. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll come show you what I've made. Okay, so as you can see, I have gone ahead and sewed sewed that all the way around and turned it inside out. And I did leave about three-ish inches open so that I could do that. So what I'm gonna do next is kind of tuck the edges and pin that together so that it kind of matches the rest, and I'm gonna sew that. I'm also wanting to press this with using the iron and do a top stitch just to keep it extra secured. Okay, so I went ahead and sewed that little edge that I had left open up, and I did some top stitching. I did press all of the edges before I did any of that, and I think that it really made a big difference. So make sure you iron everything. I like the little bit of edge that is kind of peeking from the other side, so it gives it this really cool like two-color look. And it's cool is if you want to, you can you know, use other color combinations. And next step is gonna be adding the elastic. So what I'm gonna do is fold these like something kind of like that. This is, let me measure this, about 1/4 of an inch, half an inch, yes, about half an inch. And I'm going to sew just straight so it leaves a little channel where the elastic is gonna go through. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that on both sides, add the elastic, and show you the final product. So here is the final product. I actually really like how it turned out, but I will recommend that you use a little bit longer elastic than what I used, just for comfort's sake. As I mentioned before, I'm using materials that I already owned, and I think that if I had a little bit more, maybe I would have added some, but you get the idea. More than anything, I wanted to show you guys how to make something that you can create. It does take a little bit of time, but I feel like the results are absolutely worthwhile. If you plan on making a bunch, I do think that once you have them all, it'll go by much faster to make like an entire set, since you can just like crank all of them out at the same time. Once you make one, you kind of get the idea of how they're supposed to go, and you can just easily make a bunch for yourself and your family. I do encourage that you stay you know, researching and everything, like I mentioned before, as far as materials and everything. And if you would like to share information or things that you find as far as how to make these kinds of masks, or what materials and stuff that you're finding that works really well, please make sure that you share them with us in the comment section below. We'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts, and if you happen to use this tutorial, we would love to see what you make. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Take care. Be safe. Bye.